Welcome to an online video in our courses Empirical Research Methodologies in IT and Digitalization. This is part 2 of 2 videos on the topic of research strategy. In this part, we will introduce the concept of strategy circumplex and how to use it. We will also briefly introduce some commonly used research strategies. We recommend that you watch the first part of this 2-part video lecture before watching this video. You should also watch our video on the research cycle and on Oates et al.'s framework. Links are provided in the notes. First, a quick recap from part 1. This video is about research strategies as shown in this figure from our textbook Oates et al. Important to remember is that it is the research question that derives the strategy, because the strategy is there to answer the research question. This is exactly why in the first part we focused on analyzing and fine-tuning a research question before choosing a research strategy. In part 1, we also defined the research strategy as your overall approach as researcher to answer a research question. A research question and the strategy to answer it is always related to a specific combination of actors, behaviors, and contexts. In part 1, we used our example research question to demonstrate how you can analyze and fine-tune it with respect to the 3 dimensions of generalizability, realism, and precision. We will now look at the strategy circumplex, which is a tool for selecting research strategies. The circumplex shows a 2-dimensional space where your research question and your strategy to answer the research question will be located. Along the horizontal line, we have field strategies to the right and respondent strategies to the left. Field strategies have a high level of realism in that the data is generated in a specific real-world context, for instance, observing programmers in an agile team meeting. On the other hand, respondent strategies lack realism and are based on the opinion data generated in decontextualized settings, for instance, through questionnaires. Respondent strategies are often generalizable depending on how representative the chosen sample is. Along the vertical axis, we find experimental strategies at the top and theoretical strategies at the bottom. Experimental strategies have a high level of precision. Typical examples include laboratory tests focusing on narrow tasks executed in a specific way. On the other end of the axis, theoretical strategies don't rely much on empirical data. They are based on abstract and theoretical concepts. Example theoretical strategies include computer simulation and formal theories. There is a direct connection between the circumplex and the 3 dimensions of generalizability, precision, and realism. Different parts of the circumplex are optimized for each of the dimensions. Note that the circumplex also shows that no one research strategy can provide maximum value for all 3 dimensions. This is what makes selecting the right strategy such an important part of doing research. This figure shows how each of the research questions from our analysis in part 1 can fit into the circumplex. In quadrant 1, we have a variation of the research question that emphasizes precision. Here, the researcher seeks to generate precise data related to the very narrow task of using ChatGPT to fix bug X. In quadrant 2, we have a variation of the question that emphasizes realism. Here, the researcher wants to see what happens in the naturalistic settings of programmers' daily practice. In quadrant 3, we have a question that seeks generalizable knowledge. The research is interested in programmers in general and how they use generative AI in software testing. The focus is on generalizability. The circumplex can in this way be used to create an awareness of what new knowledge the researcher is interested in creating. What makes the strategy circumplex so powerful is that it will guide you in finding the right research strategy. Research strategies, such as experiments and surveys, are nothing more than proven ways of creating valid knowledge in each quadrant of the circumplex. Once you know where in the circumplex your research question belongs, you can go on and investigate the strategy that is relevant for your research question. In the course textbook, you will find detailed information about each of the most common strategies shown in this figure. They are experiments, case studies, surveys, and design and creation. The research design framework we discussed in this video is taken from our course textbook, Researching Information Systems and Computing by Brioni Oates et al. The definition of a strategy and its dimensions and the strategy circumplex are adopted from text by Joseph McGrath. This video is part of our courses IT310 and DT8111. To learn more about these courses, go to the links provided in the QR codes in this slide. And don't forget to watch the first part of this lecture on research strategies. Link is provided in the notes section.